Hi, Chris. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for giving me the job. Well, putting a good word in for the job anyway for me. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I'm settling in really nicely. It's a beautiful city, Rome, isn't it? It really is. Yeah. Um, just a little bit on that thing you were asking me to do. I couldn't quite make you the club captain. I know. I know. I said I was really grateful for you getting me the job, but I just wasn't able to do that. I mean, you're not even fit at the moment. So how am I gonna give you the captaincy? I know, and I've signed quite a lot of defenders, haven't I? Yeah. So even when you are fit, I can't promise you're even gonna get a place in the team. Yes, hello, welcome on into Livestreams Sports here for another episode of Glory Hunter. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode, and if you did, just leave a like on this one already. Look, we're a few minutes in, just leave a like to prove that you did watch yesterday's, you enjoyed it, and you're obviously going to enjoy today's. If you did miss yesterday's, go and check it out. I introduced you to the concept of Glory Hunter in case you hadn't seen it before. If you hadn't, Dr. Benji is also doing one at the moment, so go and see his as well. I'll leave his link down in the description below. But yeah, we kind of introduced you to our team for the first stage of Glory Hunter here, which is Roma here in SerieA. And I mentioned I was going to have a look through the team after we somewhat introduced each other, or I introduced the team to you last time out. And I have done that. I've picked a team, I've made some transfers, and we're going to play our first game today just to show you what the team's like, in a game that we should win up against Lucerne from Switzerland in our first leg of our qualifying round to get into the Europa Conference League. I'm not going to show you both legs because it's not going to be that important. Hopefully we're going to have won by many goals in the first leg, and the second one will be kind of inconsequential anyway, and then we'll come back toward the end of the transfer window, possibly a deadline day special as well, and then we've got Lazio to play after that, which is in the it's a pretty big game, isn't it? Lazio being the other team here in Rome, the Rome derby, so that could be a big one. So we could do a kind of deadline day special thing, and then there's going to be a couple of weeks to that game, but I could show you that in an episode, but I'm thinking too far ahead. Let's look at today's game. We're playing against Lucerne, but before that, I'll show you the friendlies. Well, you can see the friendly results that are there. I'll show you the transfers we've made, the ins, the outs, and I'll show you the team that we are going to go for. But if you don't want to miss an episode of this, make sure and hit that subscribe button, and you won't. Every Monday to Friday at 11 AM, we will have an episode of this for the foreseeable future. We've got 20 years to do this challenge, so let's see if we can do it, and I'd love for you to stick around for that journey. Maybe try it yourself. Let me know how you're getting on in the comments down below. One last little bit of housekeeping before we go. I'm also streaming over on Twitch, so if you would like to go and watch that, just now we're spending Newcastle's millions. Monday and Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock we stream for 3 or 4 hours, so go and get over there and find out how we're getting on. If you like to interact with me live, I'll be there. I can respond to any of your messages. Go and give us a follow. Link for that's down in the description as well. So if you're watching this on a Monday or a Wednesday night after 6 o'clock, click that link and you'll probably see my face live managing Newcastle. So yes, as you can see from the friendlies, it was a bit of a mixed bag. We only beat our second 11 and Como. We drew with Pisa, drew with Torino, and lost to Inter Milan. But that was before a lot of the signings had been made. I must admit, it's been a fairly late window in terms of us getting some folk in. Normally I'm very early on, and I normally don't have anything to do on deadline day, but I think we might have some stuff happening toward the deadline day side of things today. Let me go and show you the transfers, starting with some of the outs. And when I say some of the outs, I really only mean one out, because that's all there has been, but it's been a fairly significant one. It's Rick Karsdorp, who is playing at right back for us. We have sold him to our divisional rival Juventus, I know, for £11.5 million. It says he's worth more than that. To be honest, I didn't think he was that great. We played him in a few games. He's good pace on that right hand side, but he wasn't doing much for me going forward. And defensively, he was okay. I thought, we could probably replace him for less money than that and maybe get someone, it's maybe costing us a little bit less. And we can also spend some of that money improving some other areas of the pitch as well. So we've done that, and that's Rick Karsdorp away to Juventus, £11.5 million. I think it does rise up to 17.5. Yes, it does, with some add-ons and stuff like that. But we signed him from Feyenoord a few years ago. He played last season for us, but apart from that, he really hadn't. The 26-year-old Dutchman, we've got rid of him. And one of the players we replaced him with was Mattia Di Sciglio. Mattia Di Sciglio, I'm sure a lot of you who know Italian football will know him. He's been around the block. He started off at AC Milan, went to Juventus, hasn't really played for them, was on loan at Lyon last year, and we've signed him for £5 million. So you think we've paid about a third of the price for Di Sciglio here, or Di Sciglio. You can tell me in the comments below how to say his name. We've paid about a third of the price that we sold Karsdorp for. Do you really think that he's a third of the player? I don't. I think they're very, very similar players. The only real difference is his pace is not quite as high as Karsdorp's. So I'm more than happy to have basically done a swap deal almost. But we've also managed to get about £10 million as part of that swap deal as well. Di Sciglio and £10 million or Karsdorp? Tell me what side of that trade you're on. I think we've done pretty well there. And with some of that extra money that we made from that Karsdorp deal after signing Di Sciglio, we've also signed Daniel Vass. I'm sure it's Vass with him being Danish, but you can tell me if I'm wrong. You can see a very well-rounded player. Can play in that right back position, but can also play all the way up the right hand side, in central midfield, defensive midfield, and on the left hand side as well. If he really had to, you can see he's only got penalties and leadership that are in single digits. A very well-rounded player. Lots of 12s, 13s, 14s in there. He'll be very good. 32 years old, so a little bit of experience in there as well for any of the youngsters coming through. I think for a couple of years, he'll be pretty good in the team, especially sat on that bench. He can cover so many different areas on the park. If we need him to cover in those positions, I think he'd be a very useful addition. He only costs £6.5 million so far. We've signed him from Valencia. You can see he started at Brøndby, went to Evian in France, Celta Vigo, then Valencia, played almost every game last year. You can see he's not often injured. He's playing over 30 games a season almost every year. The 32-year-old will be a very solid addition for us. Now, the club vision does say we want to sign players under the age of 23 for the first team. So what we've done is we've signed Daniel Vass, who's 32, and we've also signed Raul Albiol. I can never say his name properly, so you'll need to tell me how to do it down below. Albiol? We'll go Albiol. Raul Albiol, who's definitely under 23 when he's 35 years of age. But as you can see, he's a very solid defender. Heading 14, marking 16, tackling 15. Still a 3.5-star rated player. And I think for £3 million we signed him from Villarreal. It started off with £1 million up front, £2 million over the next 3 years. So, I mean, that experience is going to be useful at centre-back, certainly for us. I just thought we were a little bit light there, especially when Chris Smalling was one of the starters in the team. I thought we needed to add some more in there, and that's just what we've done. We have signed Albiol at centre-back, and I think his experience will be useful in the centre of defence for us. And I also mentioned in the last episode that there's always weird loans that seem to go on between the Italian clubs when decent players go out on loan to each other, and that's exactly what's happened here with Castrovilli. I'm not going to try and say his first name. Gaetano Castrovilli. We've got him in on loan from Fiorentina. We've paid £2 million after we've £200,000 a month or something like that. So £2 million are going to cost us for the duration of the loan. You can see he played almost every game for them last year, and for some reason they've sent him out on loan to us. He can play in central midfield, he can also play in attacking midfield, and can cover on the wings if he needs to as well. A very solid player, certainly very attack minded. He's not going to act, I wouldn't have thought, as a ball winning midfielder, though his tackling's 13, so maybe he could. His marking's not particularly good for that. I imagine he's better going forward than he is in defence. But he'll be a very useful option in that midfield. We've got some very good central midfield players, and Castrovilli is going to be one of those. So let's have a look at the team after we have made those signings. I'm sure you could look at the team and see, actually, there's not many of the signings in the first team that we've made. I know we are still suffering from some injuries at the moment. Spinazzola, who's just behind me, you can't quite see him. He's out for another 4 to 5 months still. He won't be coming back till Christmas. He would normally play in the left wing back role in this formation that we have got set up here. Chris Smalling's still out for another couple of weeks, and even players like Mkhitaryan, who's currently sat on the bench, is out for a few days with injury, as is Riccardi. But this is the formation and the team we're going to go for. We're going to play wing play. We're going to try and get the wing backs overlapping here, and you can see our wingers play as inverted wingers just to narrow up, but we're still looking to get down the wings and get the ball into the box. We'll look to distribute to the flanks and go round teams, play balanced and slightly more direct passing and focus to play onto the wings. That's the intention. We'll see how that works. We were playing a different formation in the friendlies and we weren't very good, so I've changed it up a little bit. I've also got a 4-4-2 and also a 4-2-3-1 set up, but we're in Italy, and when you go to Italy you play with 5 at the back, and that's what we are doing here. So how we're going to play is we're going to have a sweeper keeper in goal, obviously 3 centre backs, 2 of them being ball playing and 1 in the middle being a covering centre back. And in this instance, Albiol is going to act as that covering centre back. Even though he's not as fast as other defenders, I think having him in the centre is going to be a really important bit for him. Even though he's going to be covering, he's not got the pace. I wouldn't want to be one-on-one against a striker out on his own in the wide centre back area, so he's going to stay in the central role. And Mancini and Ibanez are going to get the chances to play the ball playing defenders, but we do have Kumbula, who, remember, is the young Albanian who we've got loaned in from Verona, who are going to be signing permanently at the end of this season. 5-star potential player, very nice defensive stats, 16 tackling, 16 marking, 17 heading, 16 positioning. I tell you what, I don't think it'll be long before he gets started instead of someone like Mancini. That is my prediction anyway. We're going to start, say, with Calafiore as the left wing back. That's because we don't have Spinazzola. He's still out injured. And Vass is going to get the game on the right, but there are Davide Santon. If you remember Santon, he had a little while at Newcastle. He was also obviously at Inter Milan for quite a long time. He's been at Roma for a few years now, but he'll be coming off the bench, and Descaglio is there as well. Our midfield 2 at the moment is going to act as a deep line playmaker and a box-to-box midfielder. So hopefully Pellegrini, who's going to start as that deep line playmaker, will sit in the hole there. And Veretout, who's going to be the box-to-box, will get forward to join in with the attack. So you imagine we'll have 3 at the back here with the 2 ball-playing defenders sitting slightly wider. Pellegrini just ahead of Albiol. The wing-backs pushing up very wide. Veretout getting forward here. And then the 2 inverted wingers coming in to act like a 3 with Veretout in behind Tammy Abraham, who act as a pressing forward here as he presses from the front to try and win the ball back. I've noticed that out of possession we have a lower line of engagement, so perhaps a pressing forward's not going to quite work with that, but maybe he'll press slightly deeper than he would normally as a pressing forward. But you can see, as I say, deep line playmaker and box to box. We'll have an inverted winger on the left hand side in El Shaarawy, and Zaniolo, who looks like one of our best players, and certainly he's got some potential. 22-year-old, 7 caps and 2 goals for Italy. Coming off that right-hand side, he can also play in behind the striker, should be play with an attacking midfielder, but I think his best position is going to be coming in off the right. Left-footed player off that right-hand side. We know there's been so many of those who are amazing. It's worth £50 million, so if someone came in to buy him, we'd have a lot of money to spend on the rest of the team, but he's looking like he's going to be really good for his 16 dribbling. His crossing could do with a bit of improvement, but if he's cutting in, it's his shots at 15 we want to be seeing. His finishing is 14, it's good, and he's still improving at the moment. Some nice stats there, 16 pace and 16 strength. He's 6'2", so he's actually quite tall as well, which is pretty unusual for a kind of tricky player out there on the right-hand side. So as I say, El Shaarawy and Zaniolo as the 2 wingers who are acting as inverted wingers, and Tammy Abraham's going to act as our centre forward at the moment. Shomurodov, the Uzbekistan international, is the other striking option we have. He's just come here for £50 million from Genoa. I'm not going to make the same jokes as Ben does for Genoa. I'm going to call them Genoa, so I don't think about that. He scored 8 goals last year, not a lot, but we'll see how he does as our backup striker. Here, you can see on the bench, you've got good options in terms of Brian Cristante will be good as one of the playmaking roles in midfield. Castroville, who you saw as one of our signings over there, he'll be good as a box-to-box role, I imagine. And Darbo and Diawara are not bad options either as backup central midfielders. We're maybe struggling in the attacking midfield positions or the wing positions, so we might need to look to bring someone else in. But Henrik Mkhitaryan has obviously got the option of being either wing and behind the striker, or can also play up front. But he is 32. He's also Henrik Mkhitaryan, and I don't think he's particularly good. I mean, last year he did score 13 goals, but as somebody who's watched the Premier League quite a lot, he didn't do that well at Man United or at Arsenal. we'll see how he does this season. But I say 32 years old, his contract's run out at the end of the season. I don't imagine he's going to be here next year. So that's why I don't know if I want to play him that much, to be honest. And I also missed out. Ray Patricio is going to be our starting goalkeeper, obviously, having just arrived from Wolves. So that is the formation. That is the team we're going to go with. And we're going to play our first game in the Conference League qualifying round. It's an away leg, away in Switzerland. Hopefully we can get off to a winning start. I just realised that was a lot of talking about the team and the tactics and the thoughts there, so I apologise if that has bored you, but I find it quite interesting trying to work out the best way that the tactics are going to work for us. And that is, I say, what I think is going to be the best way. We're playing up against a 4-4-2 today, so let's see if our 5 at the back can take advantage in the wide areas. Hopefully it can do just that. But early on, we have not had a lot of the ball, and we have not had any chances, which is not ideal at all. Here we go. First highlight of the game, and it's a throw-in from the Swiss side. Tola with it in midfield. He drives forward. He comes toward goal. No one tackles him, and Ray Patricio holds on to the ball. And this has not been a good start to the game for us at all. But there is a corner kick. Veretout swings it in toward Mancini, and he gets a goal. Gianluca Mancini. That's a cracking Italian name. The centre-back gets on it. Normally we swing them into the front post. I'm not sure why we swung it into the back post there. But nonetheless, Mancini rises up above 3 defenders there, the keeper in no man's land. And we're up 1-0, and maybe we can look to take control of this game now and push forward and try and get a couple of goals to put this tie beyond doubt early on. We're massive favourites for this game, so it should be an easy win for us in the end. But we've got to half time. We're only leading 1-0, and I think what we'll do is we'll go and let's change the tactic. Let's play a 4-4-2 formation. Raul Albiol was struggling for some fitness anyway, so he can come off. We'll bring on Shamuradov to I'm going to have to change his name probably at some point as I keep mispronouncing it, but he can play up front alongside Tammy Abraham, and we'll keep the other players similar positions, just Zaniolo and El Shaarawy dropping back slightly. Pellegrini alongside Veretout in midfield, and it goes back to a 4 at the back. Let's see. We're doing well, but let's see if we can take charge in the second half, and let's see how we do in this second half. There's an early highlight. The ball's thrown in, and it's cleared away by Vass, and Zaniolo's got it. And now we've got men up front to try and break away. Abraham towards Shamuradov, but it's cleared to Zaniolo, into Shamuradov, and it's cleared away again. And Taser with it down the left-hand side. Probably illegal to have a Taser, I'll be honest, on the field, but nonetheless, if that's the way the Swiss want to play it, that's the way they can. Back to their defence now, and Stalker with it. Stalker plays it forward, but Calafiore gets it. And Ray Patricio playing out from the back. Now he launches it long towards Abraham, who's knocking it down for Zaniolo. And Zaniolo down the right-hand side. Can he get down there and try to cause some problems? In toward Abraham, and Abraham gets his first goal of the season. Well done, Tammy. Here we are, getting the Englishman playing well in his first game. Lovely header from him 50 minutes in. He was the man that won that header after the long ball forward from the goalkeeper. Went down to Zaniolo. Zaniolo goes down the wing, and it's swung into Abraham, who rises above the defender, tucks it in to that far corner. And we are leading 2-0. Throw in from the left-hand side into Taser again. I still think it's unfair. The ball launched forward toward Patricio, who just lumps it. He could have held on to that ball. For some reason, he just chose to kick it away. And Taser's got it now. And they've attacked us with a Taser. And they've scored with it, which is, rendering us paralysed, it would appear, as we are electrocuted. We are shocked by that goal. I got there in the end with the joke, didn't I? You can see it's poor defending, really, and poor goalkeeping, and Taser scores a goal. And we need to see if we can get ourselves another one to be a bit more comfortable. We'll bring on Kumbula for Ibanez, as Ibanez has apparently picked up an injury, and Ranieri throws that one in. But it's cleared away, and can we break away here now? Mancini with it deep, finds Veretout, and Shamuradov. Forward to Abraham, but the defender gets there ahead of him, and Muller launches that one away. But Mancini gets on to one of our goal scorers. I tried to say the words. It's launched towards Tammy. Can he finish? Yes, he can. His second goal of the day. Tammy Abraham could be a very dangerous player for us at this club if he keeps doing that. The ball from Vass here, launched over the top. Abraham gets onto it, takes it in the defender, and he's through on goal, and he thrashes that across the keeper, and we lead 3-1. And there's another chance here. Can Tammy get his third? The ball launched forward Tola toward Taser. And is Taser going to punish us again? No, that's well over the bar. That was frightening. Electrifying? No, I can't think of the joke. So we're leading 3-1 here, and what seems like a very comfortable start to our role here as Roma manager. We end up winning 3-1. 2 goals from Tammy Abraham and 1 from Mancini. Only ruined by a tasing halfway through that second half from Taser. But we have managed to scrape the win. I think we probably dominated the second half. We did not play well in the first one, so maybe I'll need to rethink that 5 at the back tactic. But certainly the 4-4-2, we played pretty well with that. And obviously that was Tammy Abraham's debut, because remember he was signed for Roma before we got here, but it is his first game and he scored 2 goals in his first game, which is a pretty decent effort from the young man. If we go and have a look at the schedule, I think we're going to come back for transfer deadline day, which will be after the Genoa game, and then we'll play up against Lazio. That seems like a good thing to do. So we'll get transfer deadline day, which is all very exciting, and then we'll have a Rome derby to finish off that next episode as well. What a way to start this. Fantastic. Some great signings, a win in this episode, and then we get to play a Rome derby and deadline day in the 3rd episode. I tell you, this is going to be a good series. I can already predict it, and I'm looking forward to it very, very much. So if you have enjoyed this episode, please do leave a like on it. It really does help us out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click the links down below to go and follow us on Twitch and Twitter as well. And until the next one, where we have deadline day and that Rome derby, we'll see you then.